What would you be willing to do to help a family member that is suffering with a debilitating disease and has chronic pain every single day? Would you be willing to give them an illegal drug in order to stop that suffering and that pain for them? If nothing else had worked, if they had gone to every doctor, had tried every pain medication, would you be willing to do that for them? The drug that I'm referring to is marijuana or cannabis in its medical state. Would you be willing to get that from one of the states that is currently authorizing that for them? Utah has the opportunity to make marijuana legal, and I want to share with you why I believe that medical marijuana should be allowed in our state of Utah. The following video that I would like for you to watch is a clip from a documentary done on a man that has Parkinson's disease. And as you will watch, Larry is his name, and the documentary is called Writing with Larry. This is just a 1 minute, 20-second clip that I want you to watch about the first time that Larry tries cannabis. Larry is suffering from Parkinson's disease, which is a neurological disease, and he can't control his tremors. He has a lot of pain associated with it. I'd like you to take just a minute to see what marijuana can do for just one small portion of our population that have Parkinson's disease.
How you feeling?
It's been a bit of a rough week.
Really? And the best way to take it is put it under your tongue and rub it in your cheek. Don't do too much, you're going to be asleep all afternoon. You know what you should do?
No.
Don't try to communicate, just relax. See what happens. I think you're calmed down.
So quickly.
Isn't that amazing?
He used just a single drop, and his hands afterwards were rock steady, and the dyskinesia left.
It was coming back.
It works most of the time.
In fact, it's... Did you guys eat lunch?
Are you hungry now?
20 a.m. Yeah. Actually,
A person like me could really use marijuana. It makes me pretty angry that I can't get it in my home state.
As you can see, it didn't take long for the cannabis to take effect for Larry. 4 minutes is all that it took for that one drop to start taking effect into his body and allow his body to calm down and for him to feel like he was hungry again. How amazing is that? My own grandfather actually had Parkinson's disease, and it eventually took his life. It was really, really hard watching him, even as a grown adult, watching my poor grandfather suffer and deteriorate right before my very eyes, and there was nothing that I could do. The pain that he suffered in his last several years, especially the last few weeks of his life, what I wouldn't have given to share with him the gift of cannabis, really, and allowing him to not have that pain and that suffering and to be able to function for his last days would have been amazing. I wish that I had had that for him. As we go through our points today, I've got 3 points that I want to make. I want to cover how it can treat many different diseases and how it reduces either some of the symptoms or the pain. Legalizing it can reduce the amount of use that marijuana has in each state, as well as the deaths. And I think this is something that is very important to look at. And then the third thing that I want to cover is how non-addictive it is versus some of the legalized things that we have, substances that we have. When we look at the diseases that it can treat or help with the symptoms, there's several of those, Parkinson's obviously being one, cancer being another one. I know that for people that are on chemo treatments and things like that, they have excruciating pain, and cannabis allows them to feel relief from those kinds of things. Traumatic injuries. My father-in-law has horrible chronic back pain and has had for years. He's had many operations on his back, to the point where even the opiums that he's been on, legalized opiums, Valium, Loratab, things like that, are no longer working for him. He literally was almost bound to a wheelchair because of all of the different pain that he is feeling from his surgeries and his chronic back pain. And there's many other diseases that this helps. But why not give them, these people, our friends, our families, the gift of relief and allowing them to be able to deal with their disease, deal with their injuries on a humane level. Legalizing it actually reduces the amount of suicides, the amount of deaths that are caused every single year by use of alcohol and opioids. If you look at this next slide, you'll see in just the state of Colorado from in the year 2014, there was a 4% decrease from 6% to 2% in deaths once they legalized marijuana. And they're attributing that to people feeling like they are in control of their body, not being hopped up on opiums. Opium overdoses were so high, and not being on alcohol. Allowing people to have the choice to have something that is natural, that is a plant-based coming from cannabis, really truly allows them to have control over their body, and it reduces the risks of death. Now, the last point that I want to talk about is that it is non-addictive. Some people may not know that, but marijuana has a very, very, very almost untraceable amount of addictive properties to it, especially when you take out the THC. The THC property is what makes it either medical or non-medical marijuana or cannabis. It's the property that makes people feel like they're high and not be able to control their functions. It slows them down, much like alcohol and some of the other drugs, excuse me. So when you take out that THC, it becomes medical marijuana, and these are the things, the properties within it that allow people to feel the relief that they need from all of the other things that they are suffering from. And this is really, truly what it takes to make the product safe for people's consumption. I want to show you this last slide where we compare alcohol to cannabis. If you look on here, the differences between them, alcohol is addictive. It's a depressant. Cannabis is neither of those. It's non-addictive and it's an antidepressant. It causes cancer. Alcohol does. Cannabis cures cancer. Some other interesting things that I found on here that most people can die from alcohol deaths, overdosing, or even opium overdosing. I think that's even more popular than alcohol overdosing. There's no way to overdose on cannabis. And I think that that is really telling of our society, that we are allowing alcohol to be something that we can legally go buy at the store, at the state liquor store once we're the age of 21 versus having to find the cannabis illegally or go to a state where it has been legalized. And I think that's a great disservice to our country. I think it's a great disservice to our family members and our friends that they're not allowed to have that relief and do it on a substance that is not going to kill them. My own grandfather, a different grandfather, was an alcoholic, and he actually overdosed on alcohol because of some post-traumatic stress that he had and things from being in a war. And I wonder, maybe that would have been his choice to go to cannabis to help him with the anxiety and all of those things instead of turning to the alcohol. Given all of these reasons, I really feel like we should really, truly take a look at legalizing medical marijuana within the state of Utah. I think that we need to look at the quality of life that we're allowing the people that truly need this, allowing them to feel the freedom and not worry about overdosing, and us not worrying about them overdosing, and making it a safer place for everybody, and decreasing their deaths. And I really urge you to talk to your neighbors, your senators, the people that make the decisions, the lawmakers that make decisions here in Utah, and voice your opinion that we really should legalize marijuana, that this is something that we want to help our family members and our friends and those around us be able to control their debilitating diseases with something that is safer to use than opiums and or alcohol, something that they may be turning to. Thank you.